Hey gang, this week we're going to continue on the jam night for Born Under a Bad Sign. This time, however, we're going to focus on doing leads. Now, what I love about this one is you can either play it just absolutely straight minor pentatonic and blues scale, and it sounds great, or you can do fancier stuff, like, for example, playing Mixolydian over it, or what have you. What we're going to do in this one is focus on showing you how can you put in both the major and the minor pentatonic into this, and we'll show you the lead that I played note for note as well. Okay, so anyway, as always, if you like this one, give me the thumbs up. If you have any suggestions, please let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, if you haven't yet, subscribe for one of these every week. Okay, we'll see you in just a second. All right, gang, here we go. We're going to play this note for note. First things first, you can download the tabs. Definitely going to make your life a lot easier. And you can also download the backing track so you can practice this over. And I would advise you to play your own licks over this as well. It's going to make it a lot more fun. All right, but I'm going to show you what I played as close as I can note for note. Okay, so let me play the whole thing slowly, and then we'll go over it line by line. Okay, so here's the whole thing slowly. Remember, it is in D. It's a D blues. So D minor pentatonic works great. D blues scale works great, and you can play the whole thing just using that if you want. On the other hand, if you want to emphasize certain chords, or if you want to play the major pentatonic over certain chords, that's going to work too, and you can really experiment. It's a lot of fun to experiment on this one. It's all a ton of fun. All right, so let me play what I played. Over this. Okay, so we're going to start out here, 13th fret, 2nd string, and play this. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Let's go over it line by line. Here's the first line. It's, hey, this is an Albert King song, so we got to throw in an Albert King lick, and that's what we're going to start out with, the classic Albert King lick. All right, so we're going to prep it with 2 little strokes on the 13th, 2nd string, and that's kind of the extended blues scale, right? So. All right, so it's the extended blues scale. So we're going to play the 13th a couple times first. That is Albert King, right? This lick is one of his trademarks. All right, so that's just that right there. So we're going to bend up the 15th. This part right here is. We're going to play that twice, so it's a whole step bend on the 15th, 1st string. Then 13th and 15th on the 2nd, and let that ring. All right, so that's the first line. Here's the 2nd lick. All right, so nice little lick, one of my favorites. I basically stole that one from Robben Ford, or I'm sorry, lifted it from Robben Ford. So give him credit for that lick for sure. All right, so here we go. We're going to bend up on the 15th and slowly bring it down. And then we're going to switch. I like to switch positions here. You don't have to, but I like to. And play 13th, tweak it a little bit twice. And then we're going to pull off to the 10th on the 1st string. And then we're going to play 13-10 on the 2nd string. Now, I like to do it without picking, and we're going to play that really fast. Right? And you can do it with picking if you want. It's fine, but I think it slows it down just a little bit. You want to just give it kind of that little trailing off feeling, and that's what I love about the lick, okay? So that 2nd string, you're going 13-10 again. All right, and then just a classic blues lick, which is a full step bend on the 12th, bring it down, 10, on the 12th on the 3rd string, bring it down, then play 10, then play 12 on the 4th string, then 10 again, and bend it up a half step. All right, so it's kind of like this. Now notice I'm bending that up a half step to match this, the major third of that D7 chord. And that's one of the cool things about the blues, is that interplay between that major and minor, right? Okay, now a little spacer lick. Here's the next lick. Oops. So that is just basic. That I call that the Barney Miller lick because it reminds me of what the guitar did on Barney Miller years ago. So, so anyway, all it is really playing a D7 lick. I mean, this is just outlining a D7 chord with the exception of one note. So we're going to start here on the, if you think about, here's our D7 chord, right? So we're playing on the 3rd string 10 to 11. And then on the 2nd string, we're playing 10 to 13, 10, and then 13, 12, 10, pull off. Okay, and then the 2nd string, on the 3rd string, we're playing 12, back up to the 2nd on the 10, and now you're hammer on again on the 3rd, 10 to 11. 4th, we're going to play 12, which is the root of the D chord, right? And then trail off to the 10th on the 4th, which is the flatted 7th of that D7 chord. All right, so we're really just outlining that D7 chord. Great little spacer lick, I call it. Something to do when there's nothing to do. All right, so here's the next lick, and here's where we shift, or where I shift over to the major pentatonic. I kind of like the sound of this one here. Okay, so we're going to play basically a standard lick, but we're going to shift down to the major pentatonic. So here's the lick right now, or right here. Again, this is all over a D7 chord. So the first thing to note, if you don't know this already, I think most of you do, but one quick way to play a major pentatonic is to take your minor pentatonic and move it down 3 frets. Okay? I know a lot of people give others a lot of grief for saying, oh, that's a shortcut, man, you shouldn't learn it like that. Whatever. Look, if that gets you through the night, that works, right? And we could do a longer lesson on this whole major minor stuff, but for now, I'll tell you what, that's how I think about it when I'm playing this lick. I don't think, oh, where's my minor pentatonic? I just think, okay, this is the same old lick that I play over minor pentatonic, works over major pentatonic, okay? So, having said that, here's what the lick is. The first part is just a bend on that ninth fret, 3rd string. So that's kind of normal, right? There's nothing tricky about that. And you've got the tab if you couldn't follow the frets there. And now we're just going to go into the Chuck Berry. That's kind of normal too. So we're bending on the 9th, a whole step, and then playing 7/7 on the top 2 strings. You should know that one for sure. And then we'll play the 10, pull off to 7 on the 2nd string. And then here's a really good lick to know. We're playing on the 3rd, we're playing 10, which is the blue note in the minor pentatonic, right? Okay, the 10, coming back up to the 7 on the 2nd. And then we're playing 10, 9, 7. And we'll do the rest of it in just a second, but just to remind yourself, this is kind of how it sounds. All right, now we're going to walk back up. 9, 10, 11 on the 3rd. That's all on the 3rd string. And then 10 on the 2nd, 10 on the 1st. And 13, slide up to 14 on the 1st. And end up on the root, which is the 10 on the 1st string. That's a D. All that's over a D chord, all right? So here is the whole lick. course, you don't want to play it so robotronic like I just did there, but that's it. Now, what's really cool is it's really just the same lick. If you move that back to the minor pentatonic, just to illustrate what we were talking about before, over that D7, here's a D7 chord, and you play that minor pentatonic, you're used to that hard-edged sound, right? Now, again, over that D7 chord, it's definitely got a softer tone to it. It's not as hard-edged, and it just is different, right? So essentially, look, that's what music is, right? I mean, you're playing notes or a melody over different harmonies. It gives you different moods. By the way, we're not talking modes here, but that's kind of modes too. You play a scale over a different bass note, and it sounds different. Anyway, enough about that, right? Let's get on with this solo. So that's that lick. Next lick is a really simple one. We're just going to play a D an octave up. I think I only hit 3 notes on the solo, but we're going all the way up to the 22nd fret on the first string. Now, if you're using a Fender and you only have 21 frets, don't fret, you just bend it up a half step, right? Okay. If you have a Gibson, you're in luck. You can use that 22nd fret. Or if you have a Fender, a modern Fender, they all have 22 frets as well. And if you're lucky enough to have 24 frets, wow, you're in heaven. It's super easy. Just play the 22nd with 2 frets to spare. All right. B.B. King used to do that all the time, right? So you play a lick down here and then just bring it up. Right? Okay, here's the next lick. Very straightforward as well. This is, again, coming off of that D chord. We're going to play, slide up to the 16th on the 3rd. Okay, 15th on the 2nd. And then 17th, but we're going to bend that up a whole step. Slowly bring it down. When we get down to our bass on the 17th, we're going to play 15th twice. So it sounds like this. All right, and then we're going to stroke it one more time. Oops. And slide down to the 13th, and then play this. Oops. Oh, geez. So let's try that again. All right. Despite my messing it up there, that's one of my favorite licks in here as well, because I don't usually get to bend with my first finger, but here I am bending with my first finger. Lots of fun. Okay, 2nd string, 13th fret. We're going to bend that up a whole step, and then we're going to, on the first string, I'm going to use my pinky and play the 17th fret. I love that. All right, here's the last part. All right, so that's pretty straightforward too. We're just playing around with the 13th and the 15th and bending up a whole step for a while. And I'll tell you why I slide down to the 10th as opposed to playing it up here. All right, so just a second. Here's the lick. Now I slide down here because I'm winding up for this fat fastball that the pitcher's going to throw me. And I'm going to end up with a explosive lick. I'm going to try my best to do that because it's the end of this chorus for the solo, and I'm going to use a standard sort of minor pentatonic thing that my fingers are really comfortable with, and I like the sound of. Okay, so that's what's going on. That's why I slide down to here. It's kind of my bass position for a minor pentatonic, right? The blues box position everybody talks about. Okay, so here is the lick. I'll play it slowly. All right, that's it. Let me play it actually really slowly. All right, helps if you have a little more gain on it so you can really eke out every little tiny bit of that note. All right, so better sustain is good. Volume helps too. All right, so what is that? Well, it's basically the Chuck Berry lick. That's it. but we're going to double it or treble it. In this case, we're going to just double it and play it basically twice and maybe invert it a little bit. All right, that's a fancy way of saying, hey, we're going to play what I'm going to show you. So here, if you think about it, the Chuck Berry lick is just basically this. Right? That's the Chuck Berry lick. So that's a bend on the 3rd string 12th, whole step bend. And then we're playing 10-10 on the first 2 strings. Right? So now if we kind of dissect that and take it apart, that's what we get, right? All right, so we're going to play this a little bit differently, but it's essentially that Chuck Berry lick. So we're going to bend on the 12th. First time through, we're going to skip a string and play the 1st and play the 10th. And then play 13, pull off to 10 on the 2nd. And then we're ready to do it again. On the 3rd, we're going to play that 12th and a whole step bend. Okay, so the first one goes like this. So again, that whole skip of the 2nd string is what you're going to have to get in your brain for this lick. All right? Now, second time around, we're going to go all the way through, and we're going to bend again on the 9th. And now we're going to play 10 on the 2nd, 10 on the 1st. So we're not going to skip a string this time. Okay? And now we're going to play, again, 13-10. And then we're going to walk down with our standard blues note lick. On the 3rd string, 13, 12, 10, etc. And we're going to play the rest of it in just a second. But that is the explosive part, because you're repeating it twice and it just makes it sound like it's, I don't know, going into overdrive or something. Right? Oops. That's the thing that you've got to get down, okay? Once you get that down, the rest of it is, I think, pretty smooth sailing, okay? So we'll play, and now standard blues lick, coming down to the 12th on the 4th. So that I'm sure you've known before. So you flatten out your 3rd finger here, and we'll play 12 on the 4th, 12 on the 3rd, 12 on the 4th again, and then 10th on the 3rd. All right? So we're coming off of, okay, and then we'll just kind of walk it all down. So once we've got that, we go from 10 on the 3rd to 12 on the 4th, 10, down to the 5th. We're going to play 12, 11, 10, and then we'll play this part. So that's 8, 10, 8, and then bend it up slowly a half step. All right, so here is the whole lick slowly. When you get it up to speed, it is nice sounding. It should sound like it kind of explodes a little bit. It's the best way I can describe it. All right. Anyway, that's it for this particular solo, and you can see that basically you can stay within your minor pentatonic, and if all that's comfortable and you want to just do that, that's fine. If you want to venture out a little bit, try to throw in some major thirds if you want, or try and switch over to a major pentatonic once in a while. Do that on the D chord. It's going to sound good on the D chord, okay? So or on the D7 chord. All right, so experiment around a little bit with this. Hopefully this solo gets you pretty comfortable with, and playing it over on the backing track will get you pretty comfortable with having something in your hand. You can play this solo or you play something similar to it, and then experiment around using the major pentatonic, the minor pentatonic, or various chordal licks. All right. Okay, gang. Well, there you go. That's pretty much it. I gave you 2 different ways of playing a rhythm. Hopefully those are 2 very useful ways of doing it. Gave you a lead to play and some ideas behind that lead. Should be all set. Should be pretty confident with this one when you don't have to leave your guitar in the car. You can bring it into the bar or into the jam and have fun with this one for sure. Okay, until next time, we will see you on down the road.